Ladies and gentlemen, becoming your best self is not an accident. It's a decision, followed by a direction, powered by discipline. The question is not whether you have the potential. The question is whether you'll act on it. Because the best version of you is waiting, but only if you show up with effort, with intent, and with consistency. Let me walk you through 5 timeless steps that lead any individual, regardless of background, age, or starting point, toward their very best self. Before anything changes in your life, something must change in your mind, and it begins with a decision, a firm, clear, honest decision about who you truly want to become. Not who your parents hoped you'd be, not who your friends expect you to be, not who society told you to settle for, but the person you know, deep down, you are capable of becoming. That's where everything starts. Most people never become their best selves, not because they lack talent, but because they lack clarity. You can't hit a target you can't see. You can't arrive if you don't know the destination. Wandering around, hoping for change is not a strategy. It's a slow death. If you want progress, stop waiting for motivation and start working with intention. You have to decide. Decide with conviction. Decide with precision. And once that decision is made, let it direct your every move. Deciding who you want to be is not about crafting a fantasy. It's about defining your standard. Ask yourself, if I were to live the rest of my life at the level I'm truly capable of, what would that look like? Visualize that person. How do they think in adversity? How do they walk into a room? How do they treat others? How do they spend their mornings, their evenings? What do they say no to without hesitation? You see, a powerful identity isn't discovered, it's created. And creation takes work. It starts by asking better questions, not what job pays more, but what kind of work fulfills me. Not how can I fit in, but how can I stand out by being authentic. The person you want to be is shaped by your values, not by trends. When your values are clear, your decisions get easier. And once you decide who you want to be, it's time to align everything with that decision. You can't decide to be healthy and eat like you don't care. You can't decide to be successful and fill your day with distractions. You can't decide to be kind and carry around bitterness. Your behavior must reflect your identity. Otherwise, the identity is just a wish, not a direction. Deciding who you want to be also means you'll have to let go of the version of you that keeps you comfortable. And that's hard. There's pain in leaving behind old habits, old beliefs, even old relationships. But comfort is a quiet cage. And the best version of you lives outside the bars. You'll never grow in a place where growth isn't required. So the decision comes with a cost, but what you gain is far greater than what you give up. Here's the truth. Every day, you're becoming someone. The only question is, are you becoming that person by default or by design? If you don't decide who you want to be, the world will make that decision for you. And it usually picks safe, average, and easy. But if you take control of the pen, you get to write the story. One choice at a time. And let's not confuse this with perfection. The goal isn't to become flawless. The goal is to become faithful to your highest standard, even when it's tough, even when no one's watching, even when you slip. You recommit again and again because you know who you're becoming and you won't settle for less. That's how real change happens, not from inspiration alone, not from waiting on the perfect time, but from a clear decision that today you will act like the person you intend to be. You'll speak like them, think like them, show up like them. You'll turn your someday into starting now. Your best self is already within you. It's just buried under years of distraction, excuses, and small living. But the moment you decide to show up as that person, really decide, you'll feel the shift, and when your identity changes, everything else must follow. So ask the question, who do I want to be? And then make it the most important decision of your life. Because once that decision is made, your best days begin. If you really want to change your life, don't look for miracles, look for disciplines. It's not what you do once in a while that shapes you. It's what you do every single day without fail, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. It's the small hinge that swings big doors. Most people are waiting for a big breakthrough when all they really need is a small daily commitment, done consistently. You see, everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants a better life, but very few are willing to build the habits that create it. It's easy to say, I'll get to it tomorrow, or just this once won't matter. But that's how people lose the game, one skipped discipline at a time. The truth is, failure is nothing more than a few errors in judgment repeated every day. And success? Just a few simple disciplines practiced daily over time. Think of discipline like planting seeds. When you show up daily, reading a book, exercising your body, journaling your thoughts, saving a portion of your income, practicing a new skill, you're planting. At first, there's no harvest, no applause, no reward, just silence. But stay with it. Keep showing up. Keep doing what needs to be done even when the mood is gone. Because the harvest always comes to those who stay faithful to the work. Discipline teaches you to work on yourself, not just your job. Your job might earn you a living, but working on yourself will earn you a fortune. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and yes, financially too. The more valuable you become, the more value you bring. And discipline is the tool that sculpts your value. Discipline tells your mind who's in charge. It says, I'm not run by emotion, I'm led by commitment. Now, some people say, I'm just not a disciplined person. But discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you train it. Start small. Pick one area of your life and get consistent. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's putting your phone away at a certain hour. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. It doesn't matter where you begin. What matters is that you begin. And once you begin, protect your disciplines like they're sacred, because they are. They're the building blocks of your future. And if you drop one, pick it back up immediately. Don't wait until next week. Don't wait until you feel motivated again. Just return to the path. There's no need for guilt or shame. Just recommit. Winners aren't perfect. They're just relentless. Discipline also creates something most people don't talk about: self-respect. When you keep the promises you make to yourself, you start to see yourself differently. You walk taller. You talk stronger. You believe in your own word. But don't be fooled by appearances. There's magic in the mundane. Because while the undisciplined are chasing quick fixes, those with discipline are building something lasting. And in the end, lasting always beats flashy. Don't underestimate the compound effect of daily effort. One disciplined hour a day over a year adds up to 365 hours, more than 9 full-time weeks focused on your growth. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you rise above average. That's how you gain momentum while others stay stuck. And remember, discipline doesn't take away freedom. It creates it. When you're disciplined with your health, you gain energy. When you're disciplined with your time, you gain control. When you're disciplined with your money, you gain options. Discipline isn't punishment. It's a gift you give your future self. So don't wait for the mood to strike. Don't wait for the stars to align. Just start today. Do what needs to be done and do it again tomorrow. Let your days stack like bricks, and one day you'll look up and realize you've built a life you're proud of, not because of one massive moment of change, but because you honored the small disciplines day after day. And that, my friend, is how greatness is built. Quietly, patiently, with discipline. Your mind is the garden. The question is, what are you planting? Every day we are either feeding our mind with what strengthens us or what weakens us. There's no in between. What you read, what you listen to, who you talk with, what you dwell on, it all gets absorbed. And over time, it shapes your thinking, your beliefs, your decisions, and ultimately your life. If you feed your mind junk, don't be surprised when your life reflects confusion. You can't expect a focused, empowered, intelligent life if your mind is running on gossip, mindless scrolling, and endless noise. What enters your ears and eyes makes its way into your heart, and what takes root in your heart determines the direction of your life. You've got to be as cautious with what you put in your mind as you are with what you put in your body. People watch what they eat, read food labels, check calories, but when it comes to their mind, they're reckless. Hours go by on social media, meaningless entertainment, drama, and distractions. And then they wonder why they feel drained, unmotivated, uninspired. It's not a mystery. You didn't guard the gate. Feeding your mind isn't just about positive thinking. It's about accurate thinking. It's about giving your mind fuel to create, to grow, to adapt, to solve, to lead. When your mind is sharp, you make better decisions. You see further down the road. You start connecting dots others miss. But that edge doesn't come naturally. It must be cultivated. The great thing is, it doesn't take 1,000 changes. Just a few intentional choices practiced daily. Read a chapter from a good book. Listen to a teaching that challenges you. Surround yourself with conversations that stretch you. Learn something new and apply it, even if it's small. And do it consistently, not just when life feels good. That's the difference between someone who coasts and someone who climbs. Start choosing your input like your life depends on it, because it does. Read books that force you to think bigger. Study the lives of people who have built what you want to build. Listen to those who live by wisdom, not popularity. One sentence can change the course of your life if it enters a prepared mind. But if your mind is crowded with clutter, that sentence will be buried before it ever has a chance to take root. The mind is a muscle, and like any muscle, it atrophies without use. If you don't exercise your thinking, if you don't challenge your assumptions, if you don't sharpen your perspective, you become mentally soft, and a soft mind leads to a soft life. You start accepting average. You rationalize mediocrity. You settle without even realizing it. That's why personal development isn't optional. It's oxygen. The moment you stop learning is the moment you start declining. You may not notice it on the outside right away, but inside your potential is slipping. The world keeps moving forward. If you don't grow, you fall behind. Make feeding your mind a non-negotiable. Not once in a while, every day. Like brushing your teeth, like eating breakfast, like taking a shower. Because a clean, sharp, inspired mind is your most valuable asset. It guides your actions, fuels your goals, protects your future. And remember, you don't have to consume everything, but consume something worthy every day. And when you find something valuable, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it, teach it, speak it. That's how it becomes a part of you. You reinforce it by giving it away. Every great life begins with a great mindset, and every great mindset is built on a steady diet of growth. So ask yourself, what did you feed your mind today? Was it worth consuming? Will it make you better, wiser, stronger? If not, change the menu. because your future is hungry and it's counting on you to feed it well. There comes a time when success isn't about skill anymore. It's about strength. Not physical strength, but emotional strength. The ability to hold your ground when things get shaky. The ability to respond instead of react. The ability to stay calm when the world around you is anything but. That's emotional muscle. And just like any other kind of strength, it must be trained. Most people think emotions happen to them. They don't. They happen through them. What happens on the outside doesn't control you. It simply reveals you. The marketplace gets tough. Someone lets you down. Plans don't go your way. Life throws its curveballs, and suddenly your emotions are on the table. That's where the test begins. Can you stay composed? Can you think when others are panicking? Can you speak with wisdom when your feelings beg you to lash out? It's easy to smile when things are going well. Easy to be gracious when everything's going your way. But the real test of maturity is how you behave when it's not. The person who can master their emotions doesn't just survive the storm, they lead through it. They inspire others. They rise while others sink. And they do it not because they're special, but because they've trained for it. Training your emotional muscle begins with self-awareness. You have to know what sets you off, what frustrates you, scares you, angers you, wears you down. Don't judge it, just notice it. Awareness is the first step to control, because if you can see it, you can shift it, but if you ignore it, it runs your life from the shadows. Once you're aware of your triggers, learn to pause, that little gap between emotion and action. That's your power. Most people go from feeling to reaction without any space in between. That space is where wisdom lives. That space is where you remind yourself of your values. That space is where strong people rise and weak people fall. And the bigger the space, the better your choices. Emotion is not the enemy, it's a signal. But don't let it become your master. Feelings are passengers. Let them ride, but don't hand them the wheel. If you let fear drive, you'll shrink. If you let anger drive, you'll destroy. If you let doubt drive, you'll never even start. So feel what you feel, but act from principle. Let your values do the driving, not your moods. Another way to build emotional strength is to raise your tolerance for discomfort. Too many people live on the edge of their feelings. One harsh comment, and they're off course. One tough day, and they're ready to quit. That's not strength. That's fragility. If you want to grow, you have to learn to be uncomfortable. You have to learn to sit with frustration and still act with discipline. To feel disappointed and still follow through. To be criticized and still stay true to your mission. You build this kind of muscle the same way you build any other. Repetition under resistance. You don't get stronger by avoiding stress. You get stronger by handling it better. The pressure doesn't break you. It reveals how much strength you've built. Each challenge is an opportunity to respond better than you did yesterday. Each setback is a classroom. The question is, are you showing up ready to learn? Here's the truth. Emotional strength is rare, and that's why it's valuable. The person who stays calm in crisis, who keeps their cool when others lose theirs, who continues showing up no matter how they feel, that person becomes a pillar. People trust them, they lean on them, they follow them, and all of that begins with discipline, not in the body, but in the mind and heart. The beautiful thing is, emotional strength compounds. You get stronger with every difficult conversation you don't avoid. With every moment of frustration you manage wisely. With every impulse you resist. Over time, you become unshakable. Not because life got easier, but because you got tougher. So don't just build your skills, build your strength. Don't just chase goals. Become the kind of person who can handle the weight of those goals. Because the higher you climb, the stronger you'll need to be, not just intellectually, but emotionally. And the best time to start building that muscle? Right now. In small moments, with difficult people. During hard days. One good choice at a time. One deep breath instead of a sharp word. One moment of courage instead of retreat. Because if you build it today, it will carry you tomorrow. And one day, when others are falling apart, you'll stand firm. Not because life got easy, but because you got strong. You rise or fall to the level of your standards. And more often than not, those standards aren't created in isolation. They're shaped by the people you surround yourself with. If you spend your time with those who expect little of themselves, it won't be long before you start lowering your own expectations. But if you surround yourself with people who demand excellence from themselves first, something begins to shift. You begin to see what's possible. You begin to raise the bar. Most people don't realize how much influence their environment has on them, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. If you hang around 5 people who gossip, you'll soon speak their language. Spend time with 5 people who always have an excuse, and you'll start developing a library of your own. But walk alongside 5 people who are disciplined, intentional, growing, focused. You'll start walking straighter. You'll think sharper. You'll act bolder. Your environment is either pulling you up or dragging you down. There is no neutral. The question isn't whether it's influencing you. The question is how. That's why you must surround yourself with standards. High ones. Non-negotiable ones. People who don't apologize for expecting more out of life and more out of themselves. People who show up early, who do things with excellence, who speak with purpose, who value growth, who choose character over convenience. And here's the thing. Those people aren't always easy to be around. They'll challenge you. They'll call you out when you're slacking. They won't let you settle. And that's exactly why you need them. They push you to your edge, not to tear you down, but to pull you up. Iron sharpens iron, but only through friction. Surrounding yourself with high standards isn't about status. It's about mindset. You're looking for people who live with a standard, not just talk about it. They don't need to broadcast their values. They embody them. You see it in their consistency, their effort, their discipline, their results. You watch how they treat others when no one's watching. That's the kind of influence that doesn't just teach, it transforms. Be bold enough to distance yourself from mediocrity. That doesn't mean arrogance. It means alignment. You're not judging others, you're protecting your growth. Some people are good, kind, even lovable, but they're not going where you're going. And if you let them, they'll keep you stuck where they're standing. Choose your circle like your future depends on it, because it does. Sit at tables where the conversations are about ideas, purpose, impact, not just problems, complaints, or drama. Listen to the words people use. Do they lift or lower? Do they speak life or drain it? Your standard should be this: if it doesn't grow me, I won't give it my time. But it's not enough to just find people with high standards. You must become someone with high standards. Because like attracts like. Excellence attracts excellence. And if you want to be in the room with people of greatness, you must carry greatness in how you think, act, speak, and show up. Become the kind of person you're looking for. Hold yourself to the level you admire in others. It starts with small things. Don't show up late. Don't make excuses. Finish what you said you'd do. Speak the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Refuse to gossip. Respect your word. Push yourself to grow every day. That's how you set a standard. And that's how you attract people who live by one. Standards simplify life. When you live by them, decisions get easier. You don't debate whether to work hard. You do. You don't negotiate with laziness. You reject it. You don't follow the crowd. You follow your code. And that code is strengthened by the company you keep. So take inventory. Look at your inner circle. Who are you allowing to speak into your life? Who are you giving your time, energy, and trust to? And do those people reflect the standard you're aiming for, or the one you're trying to leave behind? Make it a rule. Only build closely with people who build you. Only walk long distances with those headed in the same direction. That doesn't mean you can't love others. It means you're careful about who you lean on. Your destiny deserves that level of discernment. Remember, you don't become extraordinary by accident. You become extraordinary by design. And that design includes your circle. Choose people who remind you of your future, not your past. People who make you raise your voice, straighten your back, sharpen your mind, and grow your soul. Because when you surround yourself with standards, you don't just reach higher, you live higher. Every day,